Hi Queen Babe. So I wanted to come on here today and talk about New Year's resolutions. Like, have you set any for this year? What are your New Year's resolutions? And should you really be setting New Year's resolutions? That's what I want to talk about today. So, New Year's resolutions, I really don't like them. Can you tell? I don't like them. New Year's resolutions are dead to me. Like, I don't know the last time I've actually set New Year's resolutions. I think I probably used to do it when I was much younger, and now I'm like, that's not gonna work. Because every time I wrote New Year's resolutions, like, I was done with them. I don't even know by when. Like, most people say like February, March, but I was done with them probably in January after I had written them, right? Because New Year's resolutions, they don't, it doesn't get you into the action plan, what it is that you're going to do. And then you have like this long list of stuff that you write. I'm going to do all this stuff in the new year. It's not going to happen. Like, most of that stuff is never going to happen. So New Year's resolutions, it's just, I think it's an outdated practice. I think that people should, instead of trying to create New Year's resolutions, they should move on to something that makes more sense. That's more practical, like setting goals. So if you have set New Year's resolutions for the year and you're like just so done with them, here's what I want you to do instead. I want you to set two goals. I don't need you to set a whole list of things that you want to do for 2020. I just need two. Start with two small goals that you want to work on in the new year, and then I need you to break it down, because it doesn't need it, it's not even about the goal itself. It's about how are you going to actually implement this thing in your life. So that's why I say only start with two, because if you start with a long list of stuff and you want to implement all these things, that's what happens with New Year's resolutions. After you see this list, you're like, I'm not doing all that crap, because each one of those New Year's resolutions probably comes with a whole bunch of other stuff that you have to do. So that's why you should start with two goals. Just start with two and then break it down. How are you going to actually implement these goals, right? Or what does that end goal look like? What does it look like when I actually accomplish this goals? Check out my other video, Smart versus Royal, so you can figure out whether or not your goal should be smart or it should be royal. Because smart is, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And even though I've done SMART goals, like there's nothing wrong with SMART goals, but sometimes your goals need to be like a little bit bigger. So royal goals are relative, original, yours, ambitious, and levitating. So those goals are a little bit bigger. So decide whether or not you want to go the royal goal route or the SMART goals route. Check out my video on SMART versus royal goals to decide. But I just want you to pick two goals that you're going to work on, right? Then once you start getting into your goal, if you have no clue how to go about this goal, especially if it's something new and you're doing like a big royal goal and it's something that you've never done before, like publishing a book or starting a business or something that was just outside of you, get advice from people who have done it. I don't need you to be listening to the people who are in your life who've never done this thing, because they're going to give you like all the advice and all the feedback. They've never done it, right? It's not something that they've ever done, or they've tried and they failed, so they don't want you to go try it either, so they're just going to give you all this negative advice. Like, you probably shouldn't do that. Like, you really think you can do that? No. I need you to get advice from people who've actually done the thing that you're trying to do. So if there's nobody in your life, in your circle, who's done the thing that you wanted to do, go virtual. There's a million and one things you can go search on the internet to find somebody who's done the thing that you want to do. And you can search, just Google search it, you can YouTube search it. If you're a reader, you can Google search it and find like different blogs that are people who are talking about the thing. And if you are more of a visual person, you can go to YouTube and just go to YouTube and just search it and find people who've done the thing that you want to do. The third thing is start taking action immediately. So that's kind of like the New Year's resolution thing that I was talking about. Everybody starts a New Year's resolution in the beginning of January. No, once you've set these goals and once you start paying attention to people and getting tips and advice from people who've done this before, I need you to start taking action like right then. Like, I don't need you to wait for a Monday. I don't need you to wait for a new week. I don't need you to wait for a new month. I don't need you to wait for some magic date on the year, January 1st. That's when I'm going to start my goals. I don't need you to wait on the next quarter. I need you to start it immediately. Start taking action towards a goal. Because then you're going to start to get into it and see whether or not you actually even like the thing that you said that you want. Because some people find, that's one thing. A lot of people have all these big goals that they want to do, right? And then once they start going down the path of actually accomplishing the goals and working towards it, they find that I don't really want to do that. Like, because they start getting the, oh my gosh, this is what you have to do this? I don't want to do that. So they like the idea of it, but then once they start doing it, they're like, that's not something I really want to do. I guess I just like the outcome of whatever that goal was. Like, people are out here saying, I guess if your goal is starting a business, right? And people are here saying, well, I make 6 and 7 figures in my business, and that's the people that you start getting advice from, and then you start doing the thing, and you look at it and you realize at the end of the day, all these people who saying they're getting like 6 and 7 figures, they're probably taking home like 5. They're not taking home 6 and 7 figures. That's how they get you into their business. That's how they get you to their channel. That's how they get you through their social media stuff. They tell you all this stuff about, well, I have a 7-figure business, right? They're not taking home 7 figures. And once you start doing the things that they're saying, okay, these are the things that you should do, and you realize, well, wait a minute, they're spending a lot of that money on the money that they're making on advertising. They have to spend all this time doing all this, creating all these videos, putting out Facebook ads, doing all this other stuff, and the stuff that you really don't want to do. It might be I don't want to do that. I don't want to run the business. Let me go work for somebody, because that's way too much. And at the end of the day, I'm saying I'm bringing home 7 figures, but I only taking home 5. It's like, why am I doing all this mess? See? So that's why you should start taking action immediately, because sometimes you might find that the path that you say that you want to go down, or the thing that you say that you want, you really don't want once you get into the meat of what it takes to get there. Now, for those of you who are going to be successful at the thing that you say that you want, great. Once you start taking that action and you realize it's something that you like, sometimes you realize that it's very simple, right? So for me, the thing I wanted to do, I did last year, which was publish a book. Now, I've been writing since elementary school, and I never decided that, I'm going to actually publish a book. So, last year I bit the bullet and said, you know what, I'm going to publish a book, and I did it last year, and I loved it. So now I'm going to publish 2 more books. You saw that on my vision board, right? Once I actually started going down the path of, because I've been writing anyway. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I just need to finish writing. But once I went through the path of, publishing, and not going through the old, long, traditional way of publishing, trying to find an agent, trying to find somebody who can represent your book, and then they're selling it to all the other people, I'm just like, I don't even remember who it was, that I saw, probably somebody on YouTube who was self-published, and they were like, you don't have to go through that route, you can go this way. So once I saw that, I went through the path of self-publishing my books, and I put them on Amazon. I went through Amazon and did it. And the process was like, well, for me anyway, because it's not like that for everybody. But for me, the process was like, oh, wait, that's all you need to do to publish a book? I was hooked. So this year, I'm probably going to publish way more books than I did last year in 2019 when I started. So you look out for my new books. They're children's books. If you have children, then you can look out for them this year. But like, I'm gonna continue to do that, and I found that once I went through the process, I actually liked it. So it was something that I like to do, but I would never have done that if I didn't start and I didn't start taking immediate action. So that's what you need to do. Once you figure out what it is that you want, once you've broken it down, like what that looks like on the end result, and you started looking at people who have done the thing that you've done, you need to start taking action, because you're never going to know whether or not it's something that you really, really, really want to do until you start taking action and start working towards that thing. And then lastly, I just want to say to celebrate small wins on your path of these goals that you're doing. So small wins are like, for me, it was, I got somebody to do the cover for my book. And that was done, and it's like, ooh, yeah, that's a win. I actually got my book cover, so I can move on to the next step. So celebrate small wins along the way, so that you can keep the motivation going, keep the momentum going, and you can continue to work towards those things that you say that you want. So that's it. That's all I wanted to share as far as New Year's resolutions and your goals. If you have not signed up for my goal setting series that started in January, but you can do it whenever, go to my page. I'll put a link in the description. Bridging the Gap is my goal setting series for 2020 or 2020 and beyond. But for 2020, we started Bridging the Gap. It used to be called Start Your Year Right, but I had to cut that because it's like, I can't tell people, because Start Your Year Right was available all through the year, right? But when people see Start Your Year Right, they just think of, okay, I'm going to do this in January. Well, it's not just for January, so I changed the name to Bridging the Gap. So it's a bridging the gap challenge, and it's helping you to create those goals that's going to help you bridge the gap from where you are in your reality at this moment to where you want to be ideally. So I'll put a link in the comments below so you guys can check it out. You get a video every day in your inbox, and it tells you how to create your goals, how to go about creating your goals, not just putting like some willy-nilly goals out there. Tells you how to break down your action plan, and it gives you the foundation for how you're actually going to implement the goals throughout 2020 or whatever year it is that you're looking at this. So check that out. New Year's resolutions, cut that out. Like, if you're still doing that, cut that out. Start creating goals. Start creating your whatever those big goals are or the small goals are that you want. Start doing that instead, because New Year's resolutions, there's no. I'm just gonna say no. Alright, you guys, I will see you in the next video.